In the heart of the 12th century, when the Crusades were in full swing, a military order emerged that would profoundly shape European imagination: the Knights Templar. Founded in 1119 by Hugues de Payens, at first, their objective was simple and direct: to protect the pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land. However, the order quickly evolved, becoming much more than mere guardians of sacred roots. Spirituality was at the core of their actions, and the Templars believed they were divine instruments on a mission far greater than just military. The spiritual principles of the Templars were rooted in Christian values, but there was something deeper and more enigmatic about their vows. They swore to live in poverty, chastity, and obedience, something common in religious orders, but they did so while wielding swords and defending territories with brutal force. For many, this paradox between war and spirituality was hard to comprehend. However, the Templars believed their battles on the battlefield were an extension of their devotion to God, a sacred service, and that the blood shed was, in fact, a divine offering. Eastern spiritual influence also began to permeate the order. During their expeditions to the Holy Land, the Templars came into contact with various schools of thought and mystical traditions, absorbing knowledge that would later be seen as mysterious and esoteric. While they continued to uphold Christian values, their rituals became veiled in secrecy, leading to speculation that they held hidden secrets, acquired through their interactions with Eastern cultures. One of the biggest controversies surrounding the Templars revolved around their internal spiritual practices. It is known that they followed a strict regime of prayers and rituals, but there are many accounts of initiation ceremonies that included symbols and practices unusual for the Church at that time. These spiritual secrets generated a fascination that persists to this day, with many theories suggesting that the Templars preserved knowledge that went far beyond the traditional teachings of the Church. As their power and wealth grew, the Templars faced a new dilemma: how to balance their immense fortune with their vows of poverty. The answer lay in a subtle form of spirituality that transcended the material. For the Templars, the accumulation of land and wealth was not an end in itself, but rather a means to further their divine mission. They believed that the true treasure lay in their spiritual principles and their commitment to the sacred cause. The symbolism of the Red Cross, which adorned their white tunics, was more than an emblem of their devotion. For the Templars, the cross was a symbol of sacrifice and transcendence, a representation of their spiritual journey. The cross not only marked their commitment to defending the Christian faith, but also a connection to something greater: the divine, the sacred. Many speculate that the Templars saw an esoteric meaning in the cross, perhaps a key to the spiritual mysteries they guarded. And so, with this emblem and the promise of divine protection, the Templars embarked on what would become one of their greatest missions: the quest for the Holy Grail. Although history often portrays them as guardians of lands and pilgrims, there are indications that the Templars had a secret spiritual mission. The Grail, for them, was much more than a sacred relic. It represented a quest for spiritual enlightenment, the discovery of a hidden truth that would transform humanity. Over the centuries, this search for the Grail became one of the greatest mysteries surrounding the Templars. Some believe they found it and hid it, protecting it from prying eyes. Others suggest that the Grail was, in fact, a metaphor for something much deeper, an inner spiritual journey, the quest for the divine within oneself. The transition from the Templars' rise to their fall was marked by this growing mystery around their practices and secrets. The spiritual power they wielded became a threat to many authorities of the time, and over time, the very forces that had supported them turned against them. However, the spiritual teachings of the Templars, their connection to the esoteric, and their quest for the Grail continue to influence history for generations. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Order of the Knights Templar has always been the mystery surrounding their initiation rituals. Although few detailed accounts have survived, there are several legends and speculations suggesting that these rituals went far beyond the conventional religious practices of the time. Many believe that behind closed doors, the Templars practiced rites involving esoteric symbolism, inherited from ancient mystical traditions, and perhaps even Eastern influences absorbed during the Crusades. To be initiated into the order, candidates had to swear absolute loyalty and renounce any ties to the outside world, fully dedicating themselves to the Templar cause. The oldest accounts suggest that initiation ceremonies were not only moments of devotion, but also of revelation. The initiates were introduced to secret knowledge, which supposedly included advanced spiritual teachings, inaccessible to the common Christian faithful of the time. This led to speculation that the Templars were guardians of spiritual secrets that might even date back to times before Christianity. Many scholars and mystics suggest that the Templars had strong ties to Gnostic traditions. Gnosticism, with its emphasis on secret knowledge and spiritual enlightenment, would have perfectly aligned with the internal beliefs of the order. Thus, the Templars were not only fighting for territories or protecting pilgrims, but also seeking to reach an elevated state of consciousness, a form of direct connection with the divine. This quest for sacred knowledge, what many believe to be the true key to enlightenment, was carefully passed on to each new initiate. Among the many secrets attributed to the Templars is the enigmatic Baphomet, a figure that appeared in various accusations against the order. Some suggest that Baphomet was not a deity or heretical idol, as the inquisitors of the time accused, but an esoteric symbol of hidden knowledge. For the Templars, it could have represented the fusion of opposites, light and dark, male and female, spiritual and material, an idea central to many esoteric traditions. Although shrouded in controversy, Baphomet symbolized for some the quest for balance and transcendental wisdom. Another central aspect of the Templars' secret practices was related to the use of sacred texts and encrypted codes. They were known for their deep respect for the written word, especially for the sacred scriptures. However, many believe that beyond literal interpretations, the Templars worked with hidden symbolic meanings in the texts. There are theories that they developed or preserved forms of ciphering and coding, using them to protect spiritual secrets and important communications. These codes were considered the key to the superior knowledge they held. The influence of Eastern mystical traditions is also undeniable. During their long campaigns in the East, the Templars had direct contact with Sufi traditions, which emphasized self-knowledge and the internal search for the divine. It is quite possible that the Templars incorporated these ideas into their own rituals. The connection with these traditions would help explain the aura of mystery and spiritual depth that surrounded the order, suggesting that their mission went far beyond the protection of pilgrims and Christian territories. Sacred geometry also played a crucial role in the Templars' spirituality. It is believed that they used advanced geometric principles, especially in the construction of cathedrals and Gothic churches, which were directly linked to spiritual symbolism. The idea was that these constructions were not just places of worship, but physical representations of the spiritual journey, encoding within their structures the esoteric knowledge the Templars preserved. Sacred geometry was seen as a reflection of divine laws, and the Templars, as its guardians, ensured that this knowledge would not be lost. It is also important to consider that, for the Templars, the Holy Grail was not just a physical relic, but a symbol of their spiritual quest. Legends about the Grail often depict it as a chalice that contained the blood of Christ. But for the Templars, it seemed to represent something much greater. The Grail was a metaphor for spiritual enlightenment, the highest state that could be reached by walking the path of truth and wisdom. Thus, their search was not just a physical mission, but an internal journey toward full understanding of the divine. These spiritual secrets were so well guarded that even during the Templars' downfall, very little was revealed to the public. Many of the accusations made against them during their trials were based on rumors or partial information. However, what became clear was that there was something deeply mysterious about the Order's internal practices. Their connection to the esoteric and to secret knowledge is what truly fueled the legends and myths that have survived for so long. The true nature of the Templars' rituals, especially regarding the Holy Grail, remains a mystery to this day. Some believe the Grail was found and hidden by the Templars. Others argue that it was, in fact, a symbol of the inner journey. But what is clear is that the Order carried within itself profound spiritual secrets, which continue to intrigue and fascinate the modern world. The Order of the Knights Templar, which had already reached the height of its power, began to face dark times at the beginning of the 14th century. The fall of the Templars is one of the most dramatic and mysterious events of the Middle Ages, surrounded by political conspiracies, ambition, and the growing influence of the Church. What really led to the destruction of this powerful military order? Many believe the answer lies in the threats their spiritual secrets and their wealth posed to the established power. King Philip IV of France, known as Philip the Fair, was deeply in debt to the Templars after numerous wars and military campaigns. The wealth accumulated by the Order over the years, a result of their missions and protection of lands and pilgrims, became an irresistible target for the monarch. Additionally, the Templars, with their highly organized and independent structure, represented a threat to political and ecclesiastical control. For Philip, the only solution was to eradicate the Order and seize their treasures. In 1307, King Philip launched a campaign against the Templars, supported by Pope Clement V, who also viewed the growing power of the Order with suspicion. On Friday, October 13th, 1307, a date that has since become legendary, hundreds of Templars were arrested across France. Accusations of heresy, idolatry, and secret practices were brought against the Order, and many of its leaders were subjected to torture to confess to crimes they had never committed. The trial of the Templars is marked by an air of mystery and betrayal. The confessions extracted under torture were contradictory and vague, but the negative propaganda created by the king and the pope was enough to condemn the Order. The accusation of worshipping idols like Baphomet and practicing secret rituals that challenged Christian orthodoxy were used as justifications for their destruction. However, to this day, the true reasons for the fall of the Templars continue to be debated by historians and conspiracy theorists. With the arrest of many of their leaders, including Grand Master Jacques de Molay, the Order began to crumble. In 1314, after years of detention and torture, Jacques de Molay was burned at the stake in Paris, sealing the fate of the Knights Templar. However, before his death, Molay is said to have cast a curse on Philip IV and Clement V, claiming that both would be called to divine judgment within a year. Curiously, both the king and the pope died months later, further fueling the mystery and legends surrounding the Templars. Although the Order was officially dissolved, many Templars managed to escape. Reports suggest that some fled to countries like Portugal and Scotland, where they continued their activities in secret. In Portugal, they reorganized under the name of the Order of Christ, preserving some of their teachings and wealth. In Scotland, it is speculated that the Templars played an important role in the Battle of Bannockburn, helping King Robert the Bruce defeat the English. With the dispersion of the Templars, new theories began to emerge about the fate of their treasures and secrets. One of the greatest mysteries that persisted was the fate of the Holy Grail. Some believe that the Templars found the Grail during their expeditions to the Holy Land and hid it in a safe place before the fall of the Order. Theories suggest that the Grail may be hidden in locations as diverse as Templar castles in Scotland, Portugal, or even in America, brought by explorers in search of new horizons. Other theories, however, claim that the Grail was never a physical object. For many esotericists and scholars, the Grail has always been a symbol of the spiritual quest, an inner journey towards understanding the divine. The Templars, with their secret rituals and mystical teachings, may have seen the Grail not as a literal chalice, but as a representation of spiritual truth, of an enlightenment that could only be achieved through self-knowledge and purification of the soul. The legend of the Holy Grail, associated with the Templars, gained even more strength during the Middle Ages, especially through the Arthurian legends. The tales of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, who also sought the Grail, seem to echo the very journey of the Templars. The connection between the legendary Knights and the Templars was reinforced by many writers and scholars, creating a link between real history and myth. Over time, the figure of the Templars began to merge with myths of secret societies. In the 18th century, Freemasonry began to rise, and many believe that the Masons inherited the secrets and rituals of the Templars. In several Masonic lodges, the figure of the Templars is revered, and some claim that certain degrees of Freemasonry were directly influenced by Templar teachings. This further fuels the theories that the spiritual secrets of the Templars survived over the centuries. The final fate of the Holy Grail, whether physical or spiritual, remains an enigma. For some, it is hidden, protected by descendants of the Templars, or by secret societies that still safeguard their secrets today. For others, the quest for the Grail continues within every human being, representing the eternal journey towards enlightenment and higher truth. Thus, the fall of the Templars, although a tragic and violent event, only reinforced the mysticism surrounding the order. Their secrets, especially concerning the Grail, have fueled generations of speculation, inspired countless works of fiction, and created a spiritual legacy that transcends time. As the Knights Templar established themselves in the Holy Land, they not only engaged in military battles, but also deeply immersed themselves in the mystical cultures and traditions of the East. Their prolonged campaigns in regions like Jerusalem, Syria, and other Middle Eastern territories exposed them to spiritual and philosophical knowledge that was far beyond the Christian orthodoxy of the West. Among these influences were Islamic Sufism and Jewish Kabbalah, two mystical traditions that profoundly shaped the thinking and secret practices of the Templars. The Templars' contact with Sufism, a mystical branch of Islam, was especially significant. Sufis viewed spiritual life as an inner quest for the divine, a path of detachment from worldly illusions and purification of the soul. This philosophy resonated deeply with the Templars, who also had their own vows of poverty and a spiritual vision of their mission. During their interactions with Sufi leaders, the Templars likely learned about meditative practices, sacred chants, and the importance of the inner quest as a way to connect with God. Many believe that these teachings directly influenced the order's secret rituals, which began to take on a more esoteric character as time passed. Another crucial influence came from Jewish Kabbalah, an ancient esoteric tradition that explores the mysteries of the universe, creation, and the relationship between God and man. Kabbalah proposes a complex spiritual structure with various spheres and levels of reality, through which the soul must pass to achieve enlightenment and union with the divine. During their stays in Jerusalem, the Templars came into contact with Jewish scholars who mastered these traditions, and there is evidence that they adopted some of the Kabbalistic concepts in their own spiritual quest. Kabbalistic teachings about the Tree of Life and the role of sacred numbers and letters may have influenced the development of symbolic systems used by the Templars in their constructions and rituals. It's no wonder that many scholars speculate that the Templars possessed vast esoteric knowledge derived from these Eastern traditions. It is believed that during their expeditions, they brought sacred texts, artifacts, and possibly mystical secrets acquired from their interactions with Sufis, Kabbalists, and other esoteric groups of the time back to Europe. Some argue that among these texts could have been ancient scrolls containing secret knowledge about Solomon's temple and the ancient civilizations that inhabited the Holy Land. The connection between the Templars and Solomon's temple is particularly intriguing. Since their founding, the order had a symbolic and spiritual relationship with the site where the temple once stood in Jerusalem. Some believe that by digging under the temple's foundations, the Templars may have discovered ancient secrets or relics that profoundly influenced their spiritual vision and practices. There are theories suggesting that the Templars could have found fragments of the Ark of the Covenant, a sacred artifact from the Old Testament that contained the tablets of the Ten Commandments. Although these theories have never been proven, the Templars' connection to Solomon's temple continues to be a source of fascination and speculation. The Templars' relationship with the East also extended to the exchange of alchemical knowledge. Alchemy, which flourished in the Islamic world, was seen not just as a practice of transforming metals, but also as a spiritual process of purification and elevation of the soul. Many believe that the Templars absorbed these ideas and incorporated them into their own esoteric teachings. Alchemical transmutation, the quest for the philosopher's stone, and the concept of death and rebirth were seen as spiritual metaphors for the process of inner enlightenment, something the Templars practiced in their secret rituals. The Eastern influences can also be seen in Templar architecture. The Templars were responsible for building some of the most impressive fortresses and cathedrals of the time, many of which employed sacred geometric concepts they may have learned in the East. Sacred geometry, a common practice in many mystical traditions, is the idea that certain geometric patterns and proportions reflect the divine order of the universe. This can be seen in the Gothic cathedrals built by the Templars, which often incorporated esoteric symbols and geometric proportions that reflected the quest for spiritual perfection. Additionally, there are reports that the Templars brought back mystical objects from their travels, some of which were considered sacred relics. Among these objects, there is speculation about the existence of hidden texts, relics linked to the early history of Christianity, and artifacts that could hold deep spiritual significance. One frequently cited example is the Shroud of Turin, which some believe was brought to Europe by the Templars, although this theory is highly controversial. With so many secrets, relics, and accumulated knowledge, the Templars quickly became an order shrouded in mystery, attracting the interest of not only Christian faithful, but also scholars and mystics who sought to understand the mysteries of the East. Their spiritual practices began to take on an almost syncretic character, blending elements of Christianity with Sufi, Kabbalistic, and alchemical influences. Naturally, this aroused suspicion among the ecclesiastical powers of the time, who did not look kindly on this mixing of traditions. The fall of the Templars, as we have seen, was largely motivated by political and economic factors, but it is undeniable that their mystical influences and their secret spiritual practices played a crucial role in fueling distrust and accusations of heresy. The Church feared the power that the Templars had accumulated, not only in material terms, but also spiritually. The order seemed to be delving into knowledge and practices that went beyond the limits of Christian orthodoxy, raising suspicions about their true objectives. Over the centuries, the spiritual legacy of the Templars and their connections to the mystical traditions of the East continued to fascinate generations. Whether through conspiracy theories or a sincere quest for spiritual answers, the Templars remain a bridge between Western Christianity and Eastern esoteric traditions. They were not just sacred warriors, but also seekers of spiritual knowledge, carrying within them secrets that continue to inspire and intrigue those who venture to explore the mysteries of the past. When the Knights Templar were accused of heresy in the early 14th century, one of the most disturbing and mysterious charges revolved around an enigmatic figure called Baphomet. The name, previously unknown, appeared repeatedly in interrogations, sparking speculation about its meaning and connection to the order. Over the centuries, Baphomet became a symbol associated with occultism, heresy, and esotericism, but what it truly meant to the Templars remains a mystery. During the trials, the Templars were accused of worshipping this idol in their secret ceremonies. Baphomet was described in different ways. Some witnesses mentioned a bearded head, while others described a figure that was half man, half animal. These vague and inconsistent descriptions, often extracted under torture, make it difficult to understand exactly what or who Baphomet represented. However, one thing was clear. For the Inquisitors, Baphomet symbolized idolatry and heresy, a clear violation of the Christian faith. But there are deeper theories about the meaning of Baphomet. Many modern scholars suggest that it was not a deity or actual idol, but rather an esoteric symbol with roots in ancient traditions. One popular theory is that the name Baphomet could be a corruption of Mahomet, Muhammad, suggesting that the Templars were influenced by Islamic Sufi traditions during their Eastern expeditions. However, this interpretation has been largely discredited, as the connection to Islam does not seem strong enough to justify such an accusation. Others suggest that Baphomet was an alchemical symbol, representing the duality and union of opposites, male and female, light and dark, good and evil. Alchemy, as a spiritual practice, emphasized the transformation and balance of opposing forces, and the Templars, with their esoteric connections, may have adopted Baphomet as a symbol of this quest for balance and wisdom. In this context, Baphomet would not be a being to be worshipped, but rather a symbol of the inner journey that the Templars undertook in search of higher knowledge. Some later occultist traditions, particularly in the 19th century, reinterpreted Baphomet in an even more complex way. The French occultist Eliphas Lévy popularized the image of Baphomet as an androgynous figure with the head of a goat, wings, and a human body, symbolizing the fusion of opposites and spiritual transcendence. For Lévy, Baphomet represented hidden knowledge, the key to understanding the mysteries of the universe and the human soul. This view deeply influenced modern occultism, where Baphomet came to be seen as a symbol of esoteric wisdom, although often misunderstood and wrongly associated with Satanism. This spiritual and symbolic duality was something the Templars understood profoundly. Their secret teachings, influenced by various esoteric traditions, emphasized the need to transcend the apparent divisions of the material world to reach a higher understanding of spiritual reality. The figure of Baphomet, then, may have been a representation of this philosophy, an image that, at first glance, seemed heretical, but, at a deeper level, symbolized the quest for unity between opposites. Another important aspect of Templar symbolism was the significance of the head. Some of the descriptions of Baphomet specifically mention a head, and there are theories that the Templars revered a sacred head, which could have been a symbol of spiritual power or an artifact of great importance. Some historians suggest that this head might have been that of John the Baptist, an important martyr both in Christianity and certain Gnostic traditions. The use of heads in spiritual rituals was common in many ancient cultures, symbolizing the mind, knowledge, and consciousness. The figure of Baphomet can also be interpreted in light of Hermetic tradition, another possible influence on the Templars. Hermeticism, an esoteric philosophy dating back to ancient Egypt, emphasized the idea that humans are a reflection of the cosmos, and that through knowledge and spiritual practice, one could achieve perfection and enlightenment. In Hermeticism, Symbols and images were often used to convey complex spiritual truths, and Baphomet may have been one of those symbols, representing the process of inner alchemy and the path to enlightenment. Whatever its origin or exact meaning, Baphomet became one of the most controversial aspects of Templar history. Its connections to esoteric traditions and its enigmatic representation helped fuel the accusations of heresy that led to the downfall of the order. However, it is likely that, to the Templars, Baphomet was much more than a simple idol. It represented a complex spiritual code, a key to understanding the mysteries of existence and the universe. With the destruction of the order, the true meaning of Baphomet was lost, or perhaps deliberately concealed. However, its image continued to inspire and intrigue esoteric and spiritual scholars throughout the centuries. Whether viewed as a symbol of balance and enlightenment or misunderstood as a heretical idol, Baphomet remains one of the Templars' most enduring and enigmatic legacies. Over the centuries, Baphomet has been reappropriated by various esoteric and occult currents, being reinterpreted in different ways depending on the spiritual and historical context. However, for the Templars, its meaning may have been deeply rooted in the quest for secret knowledge, for understanding the divine, and for the union of opposites in sacred balance. Thus, the figure of Baphomet is both a mystery and a key to unlocking the spiritual secrets that the Templars guarded so zealously. After the fall of the Templars in the 14th century, their spiritual and esoteric legacy did not disappear with the official dissolution of the order. On the contrary, it continued to spread and evolve, being absorbed by various secret orders that would emerge in the following centuries. Among the most notable are Freemasonry and the Rosicrucian order, which inherited many of the symbols, teachings, and mysteries of the Templars, keeping the flame of their hidden spirituality alive. One of the earliest connections between the Templars and Freemasonry is observed in shared symbolism. The Templars were known for their skill in constructing fortresses and churches, many of which followed principles of sacred geometry. Freemasonry, which also reveres the art of building, especially sacred cathedrals and structures, seems to have inherited this tradition. In Masonic symbolism, the idea of building refers not only to physical construction, but also to the edification of character and the human soul, a metaphor that resonates with the Templars' spiritual quest. Within Freemasonry, there are specific degrees that directly honor the Knights Templar. These degrees, known as Knights Templar within the Scottish Rite and York Rite, suggest a line of spiritual and esoteric continuity between the two orders. These Masonic Templar degrees celebrate the values of courage, faith, and the pursuit of truth, closely aligned with the ideals of the original Templars. For many Freemasons, the Templars are seen as guardians of sacred knowledge passed down through the centuries. Another secret order that absorbed Templar influence was the Rosicrucian order. Officially founded in the early 17th century, the Rosicrucians are an esoteric fraternity focused on the study of alchemy, mysticism, and spirituality. Although their origins are shrouded in mystery, many believe that the Rosicrucians inherited part of the Templars' esoteric knowledge. The Rosicrucians' quest for spiritual enlightenment and inner transformation strongly echoes the Templars' traditions of seeking divine secrets and personal illumination. The relationship between the Templars and the Rosicrucians can also be seen in the use of common symbols, such as the rose and the cross. For the Rosicrucians, these symbols represent the union between the material and the spiritual, a concept central to alchemy and esoteric philosophy. While the Templar cross was originally a symbol of sacrifice and Christian devotion, it was reinterpreted in the Rosicrucian context as a symbol of spiritual transformation and rebirth, suggesting a continuous line of influence. Throughout the centuries, these secret orders played a crucial role in preserving the esoteric legacy of the Templars. Even though the church and authorities of the time tried to eradicate the order and its secrets, the spirit of the Templars survived. Societies like Freemasonry and the Rosicrucians adapted Templar teachings and symbols to their own spiritual and philosophical contexts, ensuring that this knowledge was not lost to history. Besides these two orders, several other fraternities and esoteric societies claim some kind of connection with the Templars. The Order of Christ in Portugal, for example, was created by King Dinis after the dissolution of the Templars and, according to many historians, served as a refuge for knights who fled persecution. This order continued to operate, keeping the memory of the Templars alive, although under a new banner. Another example is the Order of the Knights of Malta, which also claims a spiritual heritage from the Templars. Although not a direct continuation, the Order of Malta preserves the spirit of chivalry and service that the Templars embodied, along with a dedication to protecting the Christian faith and assisting those in need. While not as steeped in esoteric mystery as Freemasonry or the Rosicrucians, this order reflects the continuation of the values that the Templars upheld. The resurgence of interest in esotericism in the 17th and 18th centuries also brought a renewed enthusiasm for the Templars. As the Enlightenment sparked a desire to question traditional authorities, many secret societies began to explore the hidden mysteries of the Templars. The myth of the Templars as guardians of ancient secrets, from the Holy Grail to lost occult knowledge, flourished during this period. The idea that the Templars had preserved spiritual truths that could only be understood by initiates became a common belief in esoteric circles. In the 19th century, the image of the Templars was widely popularized in both literature and the occult. Esotericists like Eliphas Levi and authors such as Sir Walter Scott helped crystallize the image of the Templars as guardians of sacred and forbidden knowledge. This romantic reinterpretation of the order helped perpetuate the myth that the Templars possessed secrets about the Holy Grail, alchemy, and the spiritual destiny of humanity. Over time, this Templar influence also spread into politics and conspiracy theories. Freemasonry, in particular, became a target of suspicion by governments and the Church, with many believing that secret societies influenced by the Templars were involved in global conspiracies. The notion of a Templar conspiracy, while often exaggerated and fantastical, reflects the enduring power of the Templar myth in the collective imagination. Despite all the controversy, one thing is certain: the spiritual and esoteric legacy of the Templars remains alive. Whether in Freemasonry, in the Rosicrucian order, in other secret societies, or even in popular culture, the influence of the Templars still inspires those who seek a deeper understanding of the spiritual mysteries of the world. Their symbols, teachings, and rituals have survived, reimagined and adapted over the centuries, as part of an esoteric lineage that extends far beyond their time. Thus, the Templars, once a military order dedicated to the protection of the faith, have become central figures in a network of spiritual and esoteric traditions that continue to shape the occult world to this day. The legend of the Holy Grail is one of the most enduring and fascinating in Western history, and its association with the Knights Templar is central to the mystery surrounding both the relic and the order. In popular imagination, the Grail is often described as the chalice used by Jesus at the Last Supper, or the vessel that caught his blood during the crucifixion. However, this simple image hides a much deeper and more enigmatic meaning, especially when interpreted through the lens of the Templars and their spiritual secrets. From the early Crusades, the Templars were supposedly engaged in a search for the Holy Grail, but this search was much more than the pursuit of a physical object. Many believe that for the Templars, the Grail represented a spiritual journey, a quest for inner enlightenment and divine knowledge. The chalice, in this perspective, was merely a symbol, a metaphor for something far more transcendental and important: the connection between humanity and the divine. In medieval texts, such as the Arthurian legends, the Grail appears as a sacred object that grants mystical powers or offers a vision of divine truth. The Knights of the Round Table, like Percival and Galahad, sought the Grail not only to receive its blessing, but also as a form of spiritual purification. These themes strongly resonate with the Templars' supposed beliefs. For them, the true quest for the Grail was not a terrestrial mission, but a spiritual process, an inner journey culminating in union with God and the realization of the highest truth. There are theories suggesting that the Templars may indeed have discovered something during their excavations at the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. Some argue that they found documents or relics related to the secret history of Christianity, or even to the Grail itself. However, the details of these discoveries, if they existed at all, were never revealed, leading to countless speculations. For many, the Grail was not just a physical chalice, but a symbol of a secret lineage of spiritual knowledge that the Templars protected. Another interesting interpretation is that the Grail could represent the sacred lineage of Christ, a theory popularized in works like The Holy Blood and the Holy Grail, and more recently, the Da Vinci Code. These theories suggest that the Grail was not an object, but a physical bloodline descending from Jesus Christ, which the Templars may have sworn to protect. Although this idea is widely debated, it adds another layer of mystery to the already intricate web of secrets surrounding the Templars. However, for many esotericists and scholars of spirituality, the Holy Grail goes beyond these theories. They see the Grail as a symbol of the inner quest for the divine. According to this perspective, the Grail represents the fullness of spiritual life, the chalice of the human soul, which must be filled with divine light. Just as the Templar Knights served as defenders of the Christian faith, the quest for the Grail would be a metaphor for the protection and nurturing of the soul, always seeking connection with the divine. This interpretation finds resonance in several esoteric traditions that influence the Templars. In alchemy, for example, the chalice is a recurring symbol, representing the vessel in which transformation occurs, both physical and spiritual. The search for the Grail, in this sense, would be analogous to the quest for the Philosopher's Stone, the ultimate goal of alchemists, symbolizing the perfection and transformation of the human spirit. Additionally, there is a strong connection between the Grail and Kabbalah, the Jewish mystical tradition that the Templars may have encountered during their expeditions to the East. In Kabbalah, the concept of the receptacle, a vessel that contains divine light, is fundamental. Kabbalistic teachings speak of the need to purify the vessel of the soul so that it can contain and reflect the light of God. This idea is closely related to the symbolism of the Grail as the vessel of divine essence, and reinforces the notion that the Grail was not merely a physical object, but a profound spiritual symbol. Whether physical or spiritual, the Holy Grail remains one of the most powerful and enduring metaphors for the quest for the divine. For the Templars, who swore to protect Christianity and its sacred relics, the Grail represented both their spiritual mission and their commitment to the truth. However, over the centuries, the idea of the Grail transcended the history of the Templars and became a universal symbol of the inner journey that all spiritual seekers must undertake. Throughout history, many have tried to locate the Grail, believing it to be hidden somewhere, guarded by secret societies or preserved in ancient temples. Places like Rosslyn Chapel in Scotland and Glastonbury Abbey in England are often mentioned as possible hiding places for the sacred chalice. However, to this day, no concrete evidence has been found, and the mystery of the Grail continues to intrigue both historians and mystics. For some, the fact that the Grail has never been found reinforces the idea that it was never a physical object. Instead, it is seen as a symbol of the very search for truth and spiritual enlightenment. This idea resonates deeply within Western esoteric traditions, where the spiritual journey is viewed as the true heroic quest. A quest that may take a lifetime, but ultimately brings the soul closer to God. In the end, the legend of the Holy Grail and its connection to the Templars leads us to reflect on what it truly means to seek the divine. For the Templars, the Grail represented both a physical and spiritual mission. For us, it can be seen as a reminder that the true spiritual quest is not for an object or hidden treasure, but for inner fulfillment, for understanding our own divinity and the role we play in the greater tapestry of creation. Although the Knights Templar were officially dissolved in the 14th century, their spiritual and esoteric legacy did not vanish along with the order. Instead, over time, it continued to evolve, influencing various secret orders and spiritual traditions across the centuries. This legacy endures in both modern spirituality and popular culture, where the Templars are portrayed not only as warriors of the past, but also as custodians of hidden knowledge, secret rituals, and spiritual mysteries that have persisted through the ages. This modern impact of the Templars extends from Freemasonry and other secret orders to films, books, and conspiracy theories, cementing their presence in both the collective imagination and contemporary spiritual practices. In the spiritual sphere, many modern groups and mystical orders claim some kind of connection to the Templars. Organizations like Freemasonry and the Rosicrucian Order, as previously mentioned, have absorbed elements of the symbolism and esoteric teachings attributed to the Templars, perpetuating a lineage of hidden knowledge. Additionally, there are also modern groups that call themselves the spiritual heirs of the Templars, claiming to follow the ideals of honor, protecting the faith, and seeking divine knowledge that guided the original order. A notable example is the Sovereign Order of the Temple of Christ and other similar organizations that claim to uphold the Templars' ideals and rituals. These modern orders, though not directly descended from the original Templars, draw inspiration from the idea that the Templars carried a secret, spiritual, and esoteric knowledge that can still be accessed by those who commit to following the path of wisdom and enlightenment. For many, the Templars represent a lineage of spiritual seekers, a concept that deeply resonates with those who seek a greater meaning in life. In addition to their spiritual influence, the Templars have also left an indelible mark on popular culture. Films, TV series, books, and even video games continue to explore the mysteries and legacy of the Order. Works like The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown and The Assassin's Creed. Video game franchises have further popularized the theories about the Templars' hidden secrets, often portraying them as guardians of forbidden truths or protectors of sacred relics like the Holy Grail. While these portrayals are often based on fantasy, they capture the essence of the mystery that has always surrounded the Templars. The idea of a secret order with access to sacred, hidden knowledge continues to fascinate, fueling the imagination of writers, filmmakers, and the general public. This image of a society guarding powerful, hidden secrets resonates with universal themes of conspiracy, power, and the eternal search for truth. This fascination with the Order has also spawned numerous conspiracy theories. Some claim that the Templars, though officially dissolved, continue to operate in secret, influencing global events throughout history. Theories link the Templars to key figures in the development of modern capitalism, global finance, and even revolutionary movements. These theories suggest that the Templars never truly disappeared, but rather reinvented themselves, continuing to shape the world's destiny from the shadows. Another significant aspect of the Templars' modern impact is their relationship to conspiracy theories involving secret societies. Many believe that the Templars left behind a legacy passed on to Freemasonry and other esoteric groups, which still today controls secret information or play crucial roles in global decision-making. While these ideas often remain in the realm of speculation, they continue to fuel debates, and maintain interest in what the Templars may have protected or hidden. In contemporary spirituality, the influence of the Templars manifests in movements that focus on the search for hidden truths, enlightenment, and personal transformation. Many see the Templars not only as a military religious order, but also as a brotherhood that understood divine mysteries and somehow achieved a deeper level of spiritual understanding. The idea that the Templars' esoteric knowledge can still be accessed inspires new generations of seekers to explore these themes, whether through historical studies or esoteric practices. The Holy Grail, in particular, remains central to modern interest in the Templars. Whether as a lost physical object or a spiritual symbol of enlightenment, the Grail continues to captivate the imagination of those seeking answers to life's deepest mysteries. For many, the notion that the Templars could have guarded the Grail reinforces the idea that they were involved in something much greater than just the Crusades, a spiritual mission to protect the greatest of secrets, the connection between humanity and the divine. The cultural impact of the Templars is also reflected in their iconography. The red cross on the white mantle, a symbol of their devotion and service, has become one of the most recognizable emblems of the Middle Ages. Today, this symbol is still used in a variety of contexts, from the logo of the International Red Cross to media productions that evoke themes of honor, sacrifice, and the fight for truth. The image of the Templars is often associated with values of courage and justice, and their presence in films and games reinforces these heroic qualities. Another interesting aspect of the Templars' legacy is their resonance with modern values of justice and protection for the oppressed. For many, the Templars are seen as defenders of a just cause, willing to sacrifice their own lives for something greater. Although the historical complexities of the order suggest that their mission was not always as pure as the legend implies, this romanticized perception of the Templars as sacred knights on a divine quest persists in popular culture and modern spirituality. Furthermore, the Templars have also influenced modern spiritualist movements that seek a connection with ancient and esoteric traditions. Their supposed involvement with secret rituals and mystical symbolism inspires those who believe that there is more to the spiritual history of humanity than what has been passed down by traditional religions. For these seekers, the Templars are a point of connection to a past, rich with hidden wisdom, and a promise that this wisdom can be rediscovered and applied in the modern world. In conclusion, the impact of the Knights Templar on the modern world extends far beyond stories of battles and crusades. Their image has been transformed over the centuries into a symbol of mystery, spiritual quest, and hidden power. The legend of the Templars continues to inspire, intrigue, and challenge both scholars and enthusiasts of spirituality and popular culture. Whether in Freemasonry, modern secret orders, or on the big screen, the Templars remain a striking and enigmatic presence in the collective imagination, representing both the best of humanity's search for truth and the secrets that may never be fully revealed. Now that we've uncovered some of the spiritual secrets of the Knights Templar and their intriguing quest for the Holy Grail, we'd love to hear your reflections. What do you believe the true meaning of the Holy Grail is? A sacred object or a metaphor for the spiritual journey? Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's create a collective manifestation of knowledge and spiritual power right here in the discussion. This space is yours. Mind Unfettered. Together, we have the power to transform our perceptions and awaken the deepest parts of ourselves. And if you're ready to continue your spiritual journey, don't stop here. The next video on your screen will take you even further. In Awakened Kundalini, Complete Guide to Activating Your Inner Spiritual Power, you'll discover how to activate the spiritual power that already resides within you. Click now and start this inner transformation. See you there. Mind Unfettered.